Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Money Mike, and this is the finale of WWE Week here on the Everything Else podcast. If you haven't done so, check out my other videos that I did leading up to last night's Wrestlemania, and right now, that's exactly what we're going to talk about as I will review WrestleMania 33 in the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida. So, 13 matches to get through. Overall, it was actually a great WrestleMania. It was better than last year's WrestleMania and WrestleMania 32, and most certainly one that will be remembered for a long time. So let's get this started off here. The pre-show kicked off with Neville versus Austin Aries for the Cruiserweight title. Now, to me, this match simplified and showed what the Cruiserweight division on Raw should have been when they first introduced them to the main roster. Now, it's been pretty underwhelming so far with the Cruiserweights. You can definitely tell the WWE has watered it down from what we saw in the Cruiserweight Classic last year. The Cruiserweights were kind of just drowned out. They were watered down, and it was just not what we saw in the Cruiserweight Classic. Basically gave us a lot of high expectations. Well, this is what we're going to see based off the Cruiserweight Classic. But then it just kind of became a segment that kind of just skipped. I mean, it doesn't help too that when they changed the ropes to purple to kind of make it seem special, but then like when you're watching it on TV, the long breaks of like the long commercial breaks, when you can obviously tell a Cruiserweight segment is coming up because they need the extra time to change the ring ropes to purple and get everything together to get them set up. But last night at WrestleMania, we finally got to see what we should have been seeing all along. Neville and Austin Aries, they tore the house down last night. Even in the pre-show, they were not going to let being on the pre-show stop them from putting on a great show for the fans. And I just hope the Cruiserweights will be able to have a little bit more freedom heading into the rest of the year with their matches, and we can see what we saw in the Cruiserweight Classic tournament. Moving on now to the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. After the surprise elimination of Braun Strowman, and once Luke Harper got eliminated, for a second I thought Sami Zayn would win, but then Mojo Rawley won, and it was kind of underwhelming. Like, nothing against Mojo, but it was just kind of underwhelming when, you know, you've been building up Braun Strowman for a whole year, and then he gets eliminated. And it's like, he lost to Roman, so I thought, okay, he gets his credibility back by winning the Andre Battle Royal, but instead he got eliminated, and so now all that build of Braun Strowman was pretty much for nothing now that he's lost 2 pay-per-view matches in a row. So I don't know what their plan is for Mojo Rawley, if maybe he's going to go for the Intercontinental title, which I will get to here in a bit. But the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal really hasn't meant much. They haven't done anything with it, with the winner, because when Cesaro won in the first one, we thought, okay, you know, maybe this is another way to elevate new talent. But then they really went nothing with it. They tried putting Paul Heyman with Cesaro. That didn't work. And then Big Show won the following year, and they didn't do nothing with him. And then Baron Corbin won last year, and they did nothing with him following that. So, who knows? I mean, there's really no special, like, prize to really win it. I mean, you get that trophy, but there's no special feeling in terms of the storyline of advancing your career in a storyline where, okay, does he get a shot at a title? Whatever the case may be. So ultimately, Mojo Rawley winning pretty much just showed pretty much how WWE does not really care for this. Now let's move on to the Intercontinental title match that got kicked off WrestleMania because of a stupid, lousy musical performance that we did not want, because we paid to see wrestling, not a musical act. So thank you, Pitbull and Flo Rida, for kicking off 2 wrestlers off a wrestling show. Hope you were paid happily for that, you stupid idiots. Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin moved to the pre-show. Really thought Baron Corbin was going to win. Dean Ambrose has been very lackluster as Intercontinental Champion, and I thought this would be Baron Corbin's kind of crowning moment after he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal last year, and he would get the Intercontinental title this year. But then he lost on the pre-show, so maybe the next pay-per-view Backlash, which is the next SmackDown pay-per-view, maybe he gets it there. I would think that would be the plan, or maybe they do the change on Tuesday, tomorrow, SmackDown. The SmackDown after Mania, so who knows. But definitely a bad booking decision there. Corbin definitely should have won that one. Now we move to the main show. Wrestlemania starts, and it started with a huge match. Shane McMahon, AJ Styles, in a match that a lot of people did not want to see. A lot of people were like, oh, come on, bring up Shinsuke, have him face Samoa Joe. Whatever the case may be, oh, it's disrespectful to AJ. Like, okay, here's the thing. Now, if you haven't read the dirt sheets or anything, it was confirmed that Shawn Michaels was offered to come out of retirement to face AJ Styles last night. Now, for a lot of the fans, they say, oh, it was disrespectful for AJ to face Shane. Well, wait a minute. And first off, so how is it disrespectful to face Shane when obviously the WWE feels high enough on AJ to try to get Shawn Michaels to come out of retirement to face him in a match at WrestleMania? I mean, look, if the WWE did not sour on was souring on AJ, they didn't really think he was worthy, I don't think he would have got the push he got all last year. He would not have been the champ. I don't think they would have considered him for a match against Shawn Michaels to come out of retirement, to bring him out of retirement to face him. Thankfully, Shane and AJ went out there and proved everybody wrong. I mean, the move that Shane McMahon was pulling off was just absolutely incredible. And I'm not even sure which move that Shane did I enjoyed more. The shooting star press or the coast to coast with the trash can. And let alone when AJ went to do the coast to coast on Shane and he threw the trash can back right at him. Incredible. I mean, the moves that they pulled off in this match, it simply was amazing. I mean, phenomenal if you really want to use that pun. But to me, it blew my expectations away. Was not expecting that good of a match. And I know probably most people be like, oh, well, AJ carried Shane. No, believe me. Shane McMahon held his end of the bargain. He helped make that match phenomenal. It was a great show opener. And I am most certainly glad that we did get to see Shane versus AJ. Now, we move on next to Jericho versus Owens for the U.S. title. Now, it's interesting to me, they put all the good matches up front, and it seems like as the night progressed, WrestleMania the match pace, the matches themselves just went down. Jericho Owens, Jericho had a nice little entrance, a little throwback to his debut. He had a big book that says the list of Jericho, or a giant clipboard on the set. That was kind of neat to see. Kevin Owens comes out on top as expected. I definitely thought that there would have been a lot more to this match, considering the build-up and how personal that the WWE has made their rivalry built coming into WrestleMania. So I definitely expected a little bit more. It seemed like maybe the time constraints, they didn't have much time, I don't know, but it definitely could have been more. But I'm not going to complain. Owens, the U.S. champion. Jericho, I'm guessing he's going to go and do his Fozzy thing now. We move on to the Raw Women's Fatal 4-Way. And I gotta tell you, last night I was expecting a surprise first elimination, like maybe Sasha, Charlotte, or Bayley. But then they went with Nia Jax being the first one eliminated when Charlotte, Sasha, and Bayley had their own little throwback to the Shield and did a triple powerbomb to Nia Jax, and they all three covered her. 1, 2, 3, eliminated Nia. And then Sasha was next to be eliminated, giving it down to Charlotte and Bayley. Bayley retained, very surprisingly. And again, if the plan was for Bayley to win at WrestleMania, I don't see why they didn't just hold off and not give her the win until last night, and had Charlotte keep the title until last night. But Bayley wins. She gets to keep the title, but unfortunately for the club, their reign as tag team champions was deleted as the New Day came out at the start of the match. It seemed like the match was going to get started. Out comes New Day. New Day comes out and says, "There's now been one more team added. It's a fatal 4-way. But who could that tag team be?" The New Day dressed up in their ring gear, kind of teasing that they were going to add themselves to the match. And then the music hit, and if the Citrus Bowl had a roof, it would have blown the roof off the Citrus Bowl. I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but if you go to WWE's YouTube page and you look at the video, Matt and Jeff Hardy make a shocking return to WWE. WrestleMania 33, WWE Network exclusive. That's the name of the title. That's the title of the video. Matt and Jeff Hardy make a shocking return to WWE WrestleMania 33. And it is the #1 video trending on YouTube right now as I record this video. And this video, I am recording it now in the afternoon on Monday, and I will have it up tonight, later on tonight. And so by the time this video gets uploaded, Monday Night Raw will be on the air, and this video will probably still be #1 on trending. It has almost 5 million views. It is incredible the pop that the Hardys got last night for their big return. Now, I know for a lot of people that, okay, they're the Hardy Boys, they're not the Broken Hardys. But right now, we gotta kind of let the whole lawsuit with Anthem kind of play out. Even though Michael Cole did mention things were about to be broken. So is that a hint? Was the Hardy Boys a little throwback for the WrestleMania crowd, for the hardcore fans? And then they're going to bring them back as the Broken Hardys, maybe tonight, going forward. We'll have to see. But for right now, an incredible match here as well. I mean, like I said, the matches in the beginning of WrestleMania were good, unbelievable, and seeing the Hardys return, I think, was the highlight of the night for everybody there at WrestleMania. I mean, it has to be. I mean, #1 trend on YouTube right now is the Hardys making their return to WrestleMania last night. So maybe, just maybe, as they did to the TNA titles, where they made the TNA titles obsolete, and they deleted the TNA tag team titles, and they rechristened them, and they showed them we're having the Ring of Honor tag team titles. Now, maybe we can get rid of these ugly red belts, and the Hardys can delete the ugly red tag titles and rechristen them with the old tag team titles. And I'm not talking about the penny belts either. So now we go from one tag match to another. Cena and Nikki Bella versus Miz and Maurice. This match kind of wasn't like one I think a lot of people were not looking forward to. It was kind of like but the promos and the build up to this was just simply amazing. And then the match itself was just underwhelming. I mean, John Cena never got any offense in. I mean, it took him at least 5-10 minutes into the match before, he was able to get any offense in. And so, essentially, they had a Super Cena comeback. The Miz, who turned into a face last night, thanks to the WrestleMania crowd. He was showboating, and the fans just kept cheering him. And I can tell you right now, probably Vince McMahon was in the back saying, "Why can't they cheer Roman like that? Just cheer Roman." But, I mean, the Miz got a bigger pop than Roman Reigns would ever get. And then the whole Super Cena comeback, Cena and Nikki win, and it was just so awkward. The wedding proposal of Cena posing to Nikki. I mean, it was so awkward. And if, like, you know, I know it was probably staged for total Bellas, but, like, you know, maybe they are actually going to get married, but, I mean, it just came off so cringy. I mean, it just felt so forced, you know? I just kind of wish it was more kind of like a real shock to everybody. I know there were reports about it coming out, so maybe everybody expected it, but maybe, you know, just one of the things that could have been better to was a surprise, maybe? I don't know. We move on to Seth versus Triple H. Now, this match was kind of underwhelming, but I think they did enough in their time span to get everything, to do everything they needed to do to make it a great match. I was very surprised Samoa Joe was not involved in the match. I really thought that maybe this is where Finn Balor would return, and Samoa Joe would come out and attack Seth Rollins. Finn Balor would team up with Seth to fend off Joe and Triple H. But maybe we'll see Finn Balor return tonight on Raw. So maybe there's that chance of that happening. They held him off of not appearing last night. Triple H lost again. And for anybody who doesn't know this, but Triple H actually has a losing record at WrestleMania. So for everybody who says that, oh, he inserts himself into matches of WrestleMania and he has to have a match. And, well, I mean, when he has matches, he loses. So, I mean, he's putting people over at WrestleMania. Put over Daniel Bryan, Batista, Cena. He lost to The Undertaker twice. He lost to Daniel Bryan. I mean, what else more do you want? I mean, he put Seth Rollins over last night with Seth winning. So what more do you want from Triple H? And probably the match that was the most disappointing was Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt for the WWE title. Now, I don't know what happened. Maybe time constraints, or just maybe the WWE didn't think nothing of it. Maybe they just didn't really put too much effort into it. But this match was really, really underwhelming. And I really, really thought, okay, you know, it was kind of cool to see, like, the little glow the ring of, like, the bugs and the worms and stuff, but it was like, what was that supposed to represent? I mean, the third time they did it, the fans booed, so it kind of wasn't working the way WWE wanted it to. But in the end, Randy Orton won. He's now a 13-time world champion, and I still feel the same way as I did when Orton won the Royal Rumble. Was that this should have been the reverse, with Orton winning the title at the Elimination Chamber and Bray Wyatt winning the Rumble, and then Bray winning the title at WrestleMania last night. So hopefully, maybe Bray will get the title back. I don't know. I mean, there's rumors AJ Styles could be put back into the WWE title picture, and if so, you know, AJ versus Orton is another match I think people wanted to see last night. So, hey, we might get AJ and Orton at the next pay-per-view, Backlash. And now to the match that really surprised me, okay? Let me say this. I was not looking forward to Goldberg and Lesnar. You know, it was just like, oh, okay, how long is this match going to be? You know, will The Undertaker's entrance last longer than this match? And so, essentially, I was just like, okay, how long is this match going to be? But surprisingly, it went about 5-7 minutes. Or I think it was like maybe under 5 minutes, but the whole match was their finishers. Spear, Jackhammer, Suplex City, F5. Like, that was the entire match. And as expected, Brock Lesnar won the title, and now he is the Universal Champion. So now we will not see the Universal title until SummerSlam, when potentially he faces Roman Reigns. Maybe. The SmackDown Women's title, 6-pack, no surprises here. It was announced as Alexa Bliss defends against every available woman on the SmackDown roster. So a lot of people are like, oh, okay, Asuka might show up in this match. But then it was just a 6-pack challenge and nothing really came of it. But Naomi won the title back, surprisingly, because the WWE does not do anybody favors in their hometown. So surprisingly, Naomi got the title back in a very underwhelming match. Like I said, with the exception of Seth and Triple H, I would pretty much say everything after the Raw Tag Team title match was kind of on the disappointing side. Even though it was a great WrestleMania, but just the match order, I think, kind of just made it seem like it wasn't a good WrestleMania, even though it was. Because just the match quality kept declining through the night. And now we move on to the main event, in which probably the Undertaker's last ride. And it is now pouring down here as I am recording this here. And I gotta tell you, the last time Roman Reigns won a match with great disapproval, Raw was canceled the next night due to a snowstorm. It is now raining. Something tells me Mother Nature's not happy with Roman Reigns retiring The Undertaker. Now, here what made this match so good, or at least it made it seem better, was Jim Ross calling the match, which was so awesome to hear. To hear Jim Ross on WWE TV once again. So cool. So good. I mean, I think Jim Ross would be so good if, put him in NXT. That way he doesn't have to travel much, since NXT tapes their shows like a month in advance, so he wouldn't have to do much traveling. I hear maybe he's going to be calling special matches throughout the year. It's great to see Jim Ross back. And for him to call The Undertaker's last match truly will probably be one of JR's biggest highlights in his announcing career, is calling The Undertaker's last match. Roman Reigns beats The Undertaker as predicted. The fans booed the hell out of Roman Reigns, and it was made a no-holds-barred match randomly, because I don't remember it being made a no-holds-barred match before the pay-per-view. And so they used chairs, they used weapons, they did everything possible. And it seemed to me they might be turning Roman Reigns heel. I think him retiring The Undertaker, I think if they build him the way they did with Brock after Brock beat the Streak, then I think they can make Roman Reigns the top heel on Monday Night Raw by far. And that's exactly what they need to do. No more of trying to make him the next John Cena. No more of that. Because right now, you can build Roman Reigns into the biggest heel going forward. He's already being booed as it is. He's headlined WrestleMania 3 years in a row. 31, 32, 33. And I mean, he's been in the main event, the final match. So, at this point, with the fans booing him, you might as well make him a heel. And now, on top of that, now you have him retiring The Undertaker. Now, think about that. They do the same build, and they make Roman into this strong, heelish character. And then he takes the title off Lesnar at SummerSlam in a heel way, heel fashion. You could make Roman Reigns into a true heel. Maybe Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, somebody else can be the face, the top face on Raw, but it cannot be Roman Reigns. So, essentially, at the end of the match, Roman Reigns leaves the ring, and then The Undertaker, all of a sudden, they showed the highlights. He stands in the ring, he has his trench coat on, his hat, and it's like he used Revive. I don't know. He revived himself, and all of a sudden he's looking at the crowd, and the next thing you know, he takes his coat off, he takes his gloves, hat, everything comes off. He folds up the coat, gloves, hat, leaves it in the middle of the ring to a arena full of people chanting, "Thank you, Taker. Thank you, Taker." A standing ovation for a true legend in the wrestling business. The Undertaker has given it his all. That was his 25th WrestleMania. And indeed, The Undertaker, as old school as he is, he did the job on the way out. And whether we like it or not, he put Roman Reigns over. And now it is truly Roman's yard. And that was how WrestleMania ended. He walked up the ramp, turned his back, held up his arm, held up his fist one last time, and the stage, and he kind of just went through the stage as WrestleMania came to a close, and that was it. Now, whether we see a speech or some kind of thing tonight on Raw with Kane possibly, whatever the case may be, I imagine there's got to be some kind of tribute planned where at the end of Raw, just like with Shawn Michaels, where everybody comes out on the stage and claps and is there for his retirement speech and stuff. So it's going to be tough. And if you really want to think about it, he's probably going to go into the Hall of Fame next year. WrestleMania is in New Orleans, where the streak was broken. So now they can induct The Undertaker in the Hall of Fame in the same city where the streak was ended. Let me know what you thought of WrestleMania. Was the highlight of the night for you the same highlight it is for everybody on this Monday afternoon, as everybody in the world is talking about the Broken Hardys deleting the club's tag team title reign and returning to WrestleMania? Did you enjoy the rest of the show as well? Because you gotta remember, the entire show was fantastic. The match order was probably the only thing I had a problem with. But outside of that, great show. I have no complaints. It was better than last year. And hopefully for next year, we can get an even better WrestleMania for WrestleMania 34. That now wraps up WWE Week here on the Everything Else podcast. I will be back later this week as I will be talking about the Raiders moving to Las Vegas officially and how it is time for the NFL to open up expansion and much, much more as we are getting ready for the NFL draft. But for right now, we say goodbye to a legend. As they say, for whom the bells toll. Well, they tolled one last time for The Undertaker.